Question number 851. For the following, which is an exception to the section 23 of the Evidence Act? Here correct answer is option A, section 126 of the Evidence Act. Question number 852. A client says to B, an advocate, I wish to obtain possession of property by use of a forged deed on which I request you to sue. Here correct answer is option B. This communication is not protected from disclosure. Question number 853. Section 129 of the Evidence Act 1872 states that no one shall be compelled to disclose the court any confidential communication which has taken place between option A, teacher and student, company and its client, legal professional advisor and his client, landlord and tenant. Here correct answer is option C, legal professional communication advisor and his client. Question number 854. Which of the following is not correctly matched? Option A, communication during marriage, section 122 is correctly matched. Evidence as to affairs of state, section 123 correct match. Confidential communication with the legal advisor, section 128 is incorrect. Evidence of an accomplice, section 133 is correct. Here option C is not correctly matched, therefore it is the correct answer. Question number 855. Which of the following is not correctly matched? Matrimonial communication, section 122 correct. Official communication, section 124 correct. Professional communication, section 126 correct. Confidential communication with the legal advisor, section 127 is incorrect. Question number 856. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched under Indian Evidence Act? Here options are section 45 opinion of expert correct, section 67A proof as to electronic signature correct, section 74 public documents correct, section 124 professional communication is not correctly matched. D will be the correct answer. Question number 857. An accomplice is a competent witness against the accused person. Here option B is the right answer. Question number 858. Section 133 of the Indian Evidence Act is related to a number of witnesses, accomplice, oral evidence, relevancy of fact. Here correct answer in question number 858 is option B, that is accomplice. Question number 859. An accomplice is a competent witness under section 118, under section 119, under section 132, under section 133. Here correct answer is option D, that is under section 133 of the Indian Evidence Act. Accomplice is a competent witness under section 133 of the Indian Evidence Act. Question number 860. Dagdu versus State of Maharashtra is related with option A, that is accomplice is the correct answer. Question number 861. An accomplice is a person who participates in the commission of crime with the charge accused. Here option A is the right answer. Question number 862. Which one of the following is provided under section 133 of the Indian Evidence Act? Here options are acceptance of an evidence, rejection of an evidence, evidence of deaf and dumb, evidence of an accomplice. Here correct answer is option D, evidence of an accomplice. Question number 863. Select the right option based on the following assertion. Reason. Assertion. The evidence of an accomplice requires to be accepted with great degree of caution and scrutiny. He hopes for pardon or has secured it and so favors prosecution. Here option A. Both A and R are individually true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are individually true but R is not the correct explanation of A. In question number 863, correct answer is option B. Both A and R are individually true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Question number 864. Which of the following statement is correct with respect to an accomplice? Here option B is the correct answer. An accomplice shall be a competent witness against an accused person. Question number 865. Accomplice shall be a competent witness against an accused person. An accomplice is unworthy of credit unless he is corroborated with material particulars. Here option B is the correct answer. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Question number 866. Which of the following statements are not true? Option first. An accomplice is a competent witness against an accused person. Conviction on the testimony of an accomplice is legal. Conviction on the testimony of an accomplice is legal only if it is corroborated. Here correct answer is option C, 3 only, because in this question it has been asked which of the following is not correct. Option 3 is not correct, that is conviction on the testimony of an accomplice is legal only is if it is corroborated. This is not correct. Other two options are correct, that is an accomplice is a competent witness against an accused person and conviction on the testimony of an accomplice are correct. Question number 867. Which of the following is the correct statement according to law? Here options are an accomplice shall be a competent witness against an accused person. Leading question may be asked in cross-examination of a witness. The court may permit a party who calls a witness to put any question to him which might be put in cross-examination by the adverse party. All of the above. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Question number 868. Who amongst the following is an accomplice? Correct answer is option A. A prostitute is an accomplice. Question number 869. Who amongst the following is not an accomplice? Option A. A bribe giver, a detective, a prostitute, a person receiving stolen property. Here correct answer is option B. A detective is not an accomplice. Question number 870. Mark the correct statement. An accomplice is unworthy of credit unless he is corroborated in material particulars. An accomplice shall be competent witness against an accused, and conviction is not illegal merely because it proceeds upon the uncorroborated testimony of an accomplice. Option C, both A and B, and option D, none of the above is correct. In question number 870, correct answer is option C, both A and B. Question number 871. Who among the following is not an accomplice? Option A, trap witness, a raped girl, an eyewitness to a murder, all of the above. Here correct answer is option D. These all are not an accomplice. Question number 872. Which of the following statement is incorrect about accomplice? Option A. Court may tender pardon to an accomplice under section 306 of CRPC. Court may tender pardon only in those offences which are punishable up to 7 years of imprisonment. It is necessary for the court to record its reason in every case of pardon. The object of pardoning is to obtain evidence from the accused. Here in this question it has been asked which of the following is incorrect. Option B is incorrect, therefore it will be the right answer. Question number 873. Testimony of an accomplice before it is accepted and acted upon. Option A, must be corroborated from the testimony of the another accomplice, must be corroborated from an independent source, need not to be corroborated at all, need not to be corroborated but corroboration is required as a rule of guidance. Here correct answer in question number 873 is D, that is need not to be corroborated but corroboration is required as a rule of guidance. Question number 874. An approver's evidence must be reliable, must be corroborated, must be reliable and preferably corroborated is not admissible. Here correct answer is option B, 1 and 3. An approver's evidence must be reliable and preferably corroborated. Question number 875. Proviso to section 132 of the Indian Evidence Act is a facet of rule against self-incrimination. Policy of section 132 of the Indian Evidence Act is to procure evidence for doing justice. Here correct answer is option A, that is both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Question number 876. When a party refuses to produce a document which he has notice to produce, can he use the document as evidence afterwards? Here correct answer is option D, that is both B and C. He can use it with the consent of the other party. He may use it by order of the court. Question number 877. If question asked to a witness to any matter relevant to a matter in issue and the answer given by the witness to such question will criminate him, then the witness shall be compelled to answer such question. Here option A is the right answer. Question number 878. One of the most important principles of the law of evidence is that evidence is to be weighed and not to be counted. This has been incorporated under which section of the Indian Evidence Act? Section 134 of the Indian Evidence Act. Question number 879. Under Indian Evidence Act, what number of witnesses will be required for the proof of any fact? Correct answer is option A, that is no particular number. Question number 880. Which one among the following is common in the provision of section 123, 126 and 127 of the Indian Evidence Act? Option C, that is they are relevant and inadmissible. Question number 881. Which one of the following is not privileged communication? Matrimonial communication, paternal communication, professional communication, official communication. Here correct answer is option B. Paternal communications are not privileged communication, whereas matrimonial, professional and official communications are privileged communication. Question number 882. Under the Indian Evidence Act, which among the following does not come under the category of the privileged communication? Here correct answer is option B. Communication made by a witness who is unable to communicate verbally. Question number 883. Which section of the Evidence Act provides that judge will decide as to the admissibility of evidence? Correct answer here is option C, that is section 136. Question number 884. Admissibility of evidence is to be decided by the parties to a trial, the judge, the public prosecutor, the advocates of the parties. Here correct answer is option B, the judge. Admissibility of evidence is to be decided by the judge. Question number 885. In which section of the Indian Evidence Act examination in chief, cross-examination and re-examination have been benefited? Here correct answer is option D, that is section 137. Question number 886. Under which section of the Indian Evidence Act provisions relating to examination in chief is provided? Correct answer here is option B, that is section 137. Question number 887. Examination in chief means? Option B, the examination of a witness by the party who calls him. Question number 888. Cross-examination under section 137 of the Evidence Act means which one of the following? Here correct answer is option B, that is examination of a witness by the adverse party. Question number 889. Cross-examination of a witness. Option A must relate to the relevant fact and has to be confined to what the witness testified in examination chief. Must relate to the relevant facts but need not to be confined to what the witness testified in examination in chief. Option C may relate to the relevant facts but must relate to what witness testified in examination chief. D may not relate to relevant fact and may not be confined to what witness testified in examination in chief. Here correct answer is option B. Cross-examination of a witness must relate to the facts but need not be confined to what the witness testified in examination in chief. Question number 890. Cross-examination of one's own witness is permissible. Permissible only after obtaining the permission of the court. Not permissible with the consent of the opposite party. Here correct answer is option B. Permissible only after obtaining the permission of the court. Question number 891. Which of the following question is not lawful in cross-examination? Options are a question to test the veracity of the witness, a question to discover that position in life of witness is, a question the answer of which amounts to hearsay, a question to injure the character of the witness. Here in this question it has been asked which of the following question is not lawful in cross-examination. The correct answer is option C. A question the answer of which amounts to hearsay is not lawful in cross-examination. Question number 892. The object of cross-examination is to examine the credibility of a witness. Here option C is the right answer. Question number 893. Party calling a person as a witness can cross-examine him as of right with the permission of the court with the consent of witnesses, not in any circumstances. Correct answer is option B, that is with the permission of the court. Question number 894. In which of the following judgments delivered by the Supreme Court in 2015 it was held that it is imperative that if examination in chief is over, the cross-examination should be completed the same day? Correct answer here is option A, that is Vinod Kumar versus State of Punjab. Question number 895. What are the questions which are lawful in cross-examination? To test his veracity, to discover who he is, to take his credit by injuring the character, all of the above. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Question number 896. What is re-examination of a witness? Option A, recalling the witness, repeated examination of the witness, cross-examination of one's own witness, none of the above. Here correct answer is option D, that is none of the above. Question number 897. The examination after cross-examination of a witness by the party who has called him is called? Correct answer option A, main examination, additional cross-examination, re-examination, re-cross-examination. Correct answer here is option C, that is re-examination. The examination after cross-examination of a witness by the party who has called him is called re-examination. Question number 898. During re-examination of a witness, a new matter can be introduced as a matter of right generally. A new matter can be introduced only with the permission of the court. No new matter can be introduced at all, either A or C. Here correct answer is option B. A new matter can be introduced only with the permission of the court. Question number 899. After re-examination of witness, the adverse party has right to further cross-examine the witness only when new fact is introduced in the re-examination. Question number 900. To an answer to a court, the adverse party has a right to cross-examine only with the permission of the court. Here B is the right answer.